Welcome to Watches at Joe's. I'm Joe. Thank you for dropping by my channel. Today, I'm going to banter about the Glance from Slomo watches. Before we get into that, we're going to start with a wrist check. On my wrist today is my Notice Sector 2 Sport Hands-On Horology Edition. This will be my next review video, and we'll dig into that more when we get to that video. Our focus today is going to be on the Slomo Glance. This watch is currently available on Kickstarter. Its retail price will be $675 US. The Kickstarter campaign has been going on since the beginning of October and will end at the end of October on October 31st. The first 20 backers were able to get this at $490. The next 60 backers are able to get this at $540. And currently there are 45 slots left on that at time of me filming. And then anybody else who backs it before the end of the campaign will be able to get it for $570 US. These prices do not include shipping, taxes, or anything extra like tariffs or VAT or any other fees that I am not aware of while filming this. Now that we've talked about the pricing, where to get it, let's talk about the watch specifications. So for our watch, we are going to have a 39 millimeter diameter. We are going to have a lug width of 20 millimeters. We're going to get a lug to lug of 46 millimeters. We are going to get a thickness of 9.5 millimeters without our crystal and 11.1 millimeters with the crystal. The loom is going to be BGW9 for the loom blocks and for the loom on the handset. Our case back is just going to be a simple flat metal engraved case back. The water resistance of the watch is going to be 10 atmospheres. The weight of the watch on my 7-inch wrist comes in at 124 grams, with 50.4 of that on the watch head and 73.6 on the bracelet. There are 4 spare links that come in at an additional 10 grams with the screw that's out here. You can see. With specifications out of the way, let's start by zooming in on the dial and then we'll go from there. So immediately when we zoom in on this, and you've probably noticed this even in the zoomed out view, the numerals are not in the places where you would typically expect them to be. So they've been centered into these sectors to give a different feel for how you think about time. Part of what Slomo wants you to do as a brand is they want you to slow down and appreciate the environment around you, your watch, and time itself. And that's what they're trying to do with their design language. With this first model, the Glance, they want you to be able to take a look at a glance and see what time it is and get a feeling for that. And so that starts for them by coming up with a different way about thinking about how we look at time. So as I said, we've got these numerals are now centered into time sections. And each of these sections is a 5-minute block, but it's also the section of an entire hour. So if we take a look at both the minute hand and the second hand, we're going to see that they are half skeletonized so that you get a viewing window as it's moving around the dial. The minute hand goes all the way out to the minute track, and its see-through component makes it so that you are never obscuring the numeral block. You're able to go through it and you're able to see it. With the hour hand, it goes all the way to that block of numeral, and with that, you're able to get a really good sense about what time it is. The other nice thing I like about this sector approach is that as the hour hand is moving through, I get a good sense of where I am in the hour without even necessarily needing to go see where I am minute-wise. Because I get a good sense of I'm a quarter way through the hour, I'm halfway through, I'm 3/4 through, right? And so that's just been a different experience compared to other watches, which is really nice. And that's just because of the way it's set up in these sections as a pie. From there, we're also going to see on this outer minute track the actual numerals. This is one of the things that is going to be getting updated with production, is making the legibility easier to see. I haven't really noticed it, as it's not something that I'm looking for when I've been looking at it. And when I did want to look at it, I've been able to look and see it. But I can see how having it pop is going to help more and more for people. We've talked about the section so far. I've touched on the hands a little bit. As you've been watching the video, you've noticed that the second hand is just the Slomo O, and then around it, you can see the Slomo logo. And so that's just really cool. It's just centered on the dial. It's one of those neat little Easter eggs to think about. I know it's not really an Easter egg, but like it feels like an Easter egg when you zoom in and you see it and you're like, oh, it's the logo and it's part of the logo that's moving. That's not something that I see often on other watches. Underneath that, we're going to get the text automatic to let us know that it's an automatic watch. And we're going to get 10 atmospheres printed there. I think both of those are fine. I could be okay with those being on the back just because I really like how the Slomo logo goes across. But it doesn't take away from anything. So it's really just there as text, and that's fine. With that out of the way, I don't think there's much else to say about the dial, about how time is reading here. We'll get to that more on the wrist experience. So as we start to zoom out from that, we're going to take a look at the case itself. We're going to see brushing all around the case, which helps lead to some very nice light play. On our lugs, we're going to see that they are skeletonized. This is another thing that is going to get updated in the production model. The shape's going to become more in line with the Slomo O, so I can't wait to see how that looks like. On the side of our case, we're also going to get some deletion. And so these skeletonization and the deletion elements just really make the case feel a little bit more futuristic for me. And that really plays into the overall vibe that I get when I look at the dial. A couple more angles here before we zoom back out. Just take a look at the case back real quick while we're here. We can just see that we just got the Slomo logo. We've got Slomo engraved with Appreciate Time underneath. We've got the model for the glance, and we get to know that it is designed in Canada. As we take a look over here on this side of the watch, we're going to see the crown. It is 4.9 millimeters, we talked about. It's pretty easy to use. With the way that we're getting this knurling around the edge, it just falls in line as it looks like little mini Slomos to me, so it's kind of cool. And then it is just a push-pull crown, so it is super easy to operate. This is the Miyota 9039 movement, so it is going to hack when you pull out the crown. When you pull it back in, you can hand wind it. And then as far as I know, it's just the standard factory regulation of -10 plus 30 for that. All right, so now that we've done that, let's zoom out and let's take a look at the bracelet. With the bracelet, we are going to see Slomo engraved on the clasp. It is a twin push clasp. It is a milled clasp. It has the pretty standard ratchet quick adjust system, which is very nice. So you just can pull it all the way out, and then you can just ratchet it in. It's got 4 slots of adjustment. That's back to where it was on my wrist. As we look at the links, this finishing from the case continues. It's nice. The light play is very, very nice to look at in many different angles. We continue with this custom Slomo O going down the center of our bracelet. And so we just see that the design elements are tying in all across, which is very nice. Taking a look at that, I think the next thing to do is to get this onto my wrist. All right. So we're going to start by putting it back onto the bracelet. Down to me. with these quick release pins, it makes it just a few seconds. Get this guy on here. It's nice and secure. All right. So I have had this on my wrist for about 3 or 4 days now. I've driven 8 or so hours with it on a couple of road trips. And so it has just been extremely comfortable on my wrist. It's the first thing I noticed when I actually met Ben up in Canada at Toronto Timepiece. He was walking around the exhibition. I was walking around the exhibition. I randomly met him. He's super nice. He let me try this on, and I just remarked on how comfortable the bracelet felt. Usually, when I'm trying on a new watch, it takes me a while to like a bracelet. And this was the first bracelet that I put on where I was just like, wow, it feels comfortable. The articulation feels nice for me on here. Just the overall feel of the weight of the bracelet, the thickness of the bracelet, the way it's integrated with the watch head, it's the most surprising feature for me, and why sometimes it's just really important to try something on to know how it's going to play versus what you get to see on the internet. So one of my goals as I keep expanding what this channel is to talk about those sort of experiences, because we're not all very fortunate to always get able to try cool micro brands before we order them. So yeah, the wearing experience on this is just lovely. I've only had to adjust it a few times, but we're also in the colder months. So I would probably be utilizing all of this micro adjustment otherwise. So I really, really like this bracelet. I don't have anything bad to say about it. I think it's got a workhorse clasp. It works really well with it. We are just going to get that over there. But I also know that as somebody who thinks about what I want to see out of review videos, I also want to see how it looks on some straps, because I don't always keep my watch on a bracelet. I've got a bunch of straps that I use. And so we're just going to put on a couple straps here just to get a look at what it looks like. There we go. And so this is just a FKM strap from Strap Habit. And really, this isn't about color matching right now. This is more just a, how does this sort of strap look like on this watch for me? Right, and then we're also going to pull it on a sailcloth strap just to see what that looks like. There's one on, and we'll get the other guy on. All right. So there we go, just a couple straps that I've got lying around. So yeah, it looks fantastic on the bracelet. I probably would keep this watch on the bracelet more than putting it on a strap for me, just because of how comfortable it's felt. I also really love the O center link design that's going on here. It's really cool how much of the Slomo design language is carrying out throughout the entire watch itself. So we've gone through with specifications. We've talked about the case finishing, how the crown and the movement work together a little bit. We had the case back. We've looked at the dial. We've talked through the straps, the wearing experience. And I guess that just really leaves us left with, let's take a look at what this lume looks like on this watch. So we're going to take off my lights. Turn down this last little side light. Brighten this up with the torch. Going to zoom in. Focus back. Let's turn the light back on for a second. All right, we got focus back. One more try. There we go. All right. So I really like the lume on this watch. With the lights on, you take a look at it, you sort of get the sense of like, how legible is this going to be for me when I take a look at it? And now when I look at it, I get this sense of it feels like I'm looking at a wall clock, which is just kind of cool to get that experience on my wrist in a way that I didn't think I would before. The hour hands and minute hands are really easy to read where they are. Knowing sort of how the blocks of time are working, I'm able to estimate where I am in stuff too, compared to just having it traditionally on the uh, normal places you would see it, the 0, 90, 180, 270 degrees, and all the other places around the circle where we're used to seeing numerals placed. And so, yeah, I'm really happy with how this loom is, and I'm just kind of really surprised by it. Closing thoughts. Ben and Slomo have made a really nice watch. I like what they're doing. I like how the design is throughout the entire watch, including the bracelet. I think they are doing something a little bit different than we're seeing in other places. I think what they're going for with their goals for this model, they're meeting those goals. The question now is if there are going to be enough people that want to fund their own Kickstarter. So if you are somebody who's interested, if you want to know more about this watch, there are some other articles out already. You can go check out more information at the Kickstarter for Slomo watches. Thank you very much for dropping by my channel. If you've enjoyed your time with me today, please leave a comment below. Let me know if you have any questions about the watch, about how I'm doing content, about things that you want to see from me. And please subscribe, like, and get notifications to help get this YouTube algorithm to know me a bit better. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye.